Hello and happy Friday, everybody. Today it's Friday, and that means that it's time for another live edition of our Heat Press for Profit podcast. Now, while everybody is joining, I'm going to give it a couple of minutes before we really start diving into this topic because there is going to be a lot of information. So if you can, grab a notebook, grab some paper, take some notes. Don't panic if we're going too fast for you, because next week you'll be able to rewatch and then you can go back and make some other notes. But this is going to be all about leveraging apps to boost your business. So welcome to the Heat Press for Profit podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen and join in on our conversations. If you're watching with us live on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, make sure you shout out who you are, where you're watching from, and of course, you guys know I love to know your business name so we can also make those connections. This podcast is designed to have conversations with apparel decorators just like you and industry experts that can have an impact on your business. Today's conversation is about leveraging apps to boost your business, and it's all types of apps from all types of marketing, business solutions, organization, editing. Like, we're going to cover a lot in a quick 30 minutes. And as you can see, our returning guest is Cassie Green. Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I know we started talking about this last time I was on, but there is so much. You're absolutely right to talk about. So
now, guys, she is the content director for Apparelist. And I thought like this would be the perfect conversation for her and myself to really just kind of run down, because I love apps and I am the person that goes download, and then I go through them, see which ones I like. But I know a lot of people get a little more timid when they see 20 different choices. What does this one do? What does that one do? So we have a lot to talk about. Now, I will also tell you guys that Cassie did some polling. So I want to make sure that we cover the apps that we personally like to use, but then also recommended apps that other people like to use, because what I like, what she likes may not be one that you like, but just know there's so many out there. So we're going to start with scheduling. Let's talk about apps to schedule posts on Instagram, to talk, Facebook. And then I don't think you can schedule on TikTok, but I think you can go ahead and map out. But let's start with you, because when it comes to content, what's your favorite type of scheduling app?
Yeah, there are so many. Yeah, it is very overwhelming. So like, I'm an OG and I like Hootsuite. So that's the one I like cut my teeth on for scheduling social media. Hootsuite, like, it does tons of accounts. You can set up times, dates. You can customize it. The cool thing about Hootsuite is, like pretty much any other app, there's, your basic version and like your premium version, right? Yep. So you can do like advanced analytics version, for example, which will help like with your social analytics tools. So not only can you like schedule everything, but then you can kind of follow along with reporting, see how things are performing. So that's kind of cool about Hootsuite. I do also use our company, Printing United Alliance and Apparelist, uses Clearview, which is also really good. You can link that to like, I was about to say Twitter, but it's X now, LinkedIn, Facebook. And so that one's really cool too, because again, like Hootsuite, you can kind of schedule everything out, set it, and then you don't have to like think about it the rest of the week. So those are the two that I personally use. And like you mentioned, Kelly, I did talk to my advisory board, because those are actually apparel decorators out there doing their own thing. And so they probably have different needs than I do for their content, right? And one of them that got brought up was this one called AppFee, which is pretty cool. I started looking into it earlier this week. Again, it's really good for scheduling, particularly for Instagram. So this community is very active in Instagram. And so that's why I think like this one's really cool. It helps you schedule everything. automatically post everything to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. So I guess those are my top 3: Hootsuite, Clearview, AppV.
I love it. I'm a Hootsuite girl too. And I started like first using Hootsuite. Oh my gosh. Like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Like, I can't even remember when I first started using it. And it was one that I just found so easy, right? Like, there's so many different apps out there, but I think the biggest thing that is important is, one, you need to make sure that it's going to do what it says it's going to do. If it says that it's going to post, you schedule it to post at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday. It's super, super, super important that that app actually follows through the scheduling. The other thing is going through different platforms that you want to post on. And I think that's the next thing that is super important. And for those of you that are very heavily involved in social media, know that, different content should be posted, on different platforms. But somebody like myself or a small business owner, you don't have a social media team or content team. I don't have the time to sit there and make a graphic or a post for every single platform out there. So it's so, so, so important to make sure that whatever app you're using is you're able to utilize it for what you need it to.
Absolutely. And what I was really noticing as I was really kind of trying to dig in further is, like you said, it can be really overwhelming because a lot of these you hop on to read about them, and it can be really hard to try and decipher, like, okay, what is it that this app actually does?
Yes.
So you're right. Kind of almost sometimes just be like baptism by fire. Just download it and try it, see if it works for you. Sometimes that's a really great way to go. Making sure it works on your desktop, on your mobile device, whatever. But yeah, like there's a lot out there.
There have definitely been some scheduling apps that I've used, and honestly, I don't even remember 100% what it was. It might have been what's the new name of Instagram and Facebook?
Meta.
Thank you. It's Meta Business. It does not go along to me. That connection, that name does not work. But like the Meta app, for those of you that don't know, is an app. It's a free app, and through that Meta Business app, you can schedule on those platforms. But for me, there's way too many steps to release that information, and it's failed on me numerous times. But that's my personal experience. And I know of people that will eat, sleep, and live for that Meta app. And it's fantastic because it is a free app to use.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is like, do you consider that like the free app or even like a free version of an app can be totally different than like a premium version of an app. So a lot of times like paying for those extra things can like help. Yep. But again, totally dependent on the app. Sometimes even the premium version just might not be what you're looking for.
Yep. And the trials, and it's even crazy to say this, but Black Friday, Thanksgiving, it's coming up, and there are tons of apps that actually do a promo on those days. And we're not sponsored by any apps, but I'm just telling you guys, if you are out there, sourcing and you're looking for something, but you're like, man, I really don't want to bite the bullet and pay $120 or $50 for an app. Pay attention to when they do promos, because that's a great way to get into that, to really test and see if you like it. Okay, we've talked about scheduling. We know there's a ton out there. Hootsuite's, fan favorite, and then you gave a couple of others as well. Let's talk about graphics and editing. Because photography is huge for those that maybe are not trained in photography or know Illustrator or anything Adobe, I'm just going to say, because I don't know anything Adobe but Lightroom, because I have had to force myself to learn it. And I think when it comes to showcasing the products that people are able to create and build and, showcase customer photos, we really want to see nice pictures. And I know people say pictures don't matter, just get them up. I think pictures matter, and the prettier the picture can look in terms of color and light, the more I am willing to gravitate towards that. So, give us your take on all things graphics and editing.
Sure. And I just want to emphasize that point you made. Like, they are important, especially again in the apparel decoration industry. You can talk about a cool project all you want, but if you can't like give a great picture or great video or reel or whatever of this awesome product for people to actually see, I don't know. People are going to probably breeze by it, especially if they're on Instagram or TikTok. Like, you're scrolling so fast. If there's not a great graphic to pull you in, I'm sorry, they're probably going to move past your stuff. That being said, I also am a newbie to graphic because I am used to words.
Like that.
Let's go into that a little bit. So let me start with like my personal use. So I use Pixlr. It's Pixlr. And like the scheduling, there's like a free version, and then there's like the paid premium version, right? But the cool thing about Pixlr is if you are a graphic newbie, or you're really just not used to editing photos, or you just need a platform to experiment on, this one's really great. So another editor on our NAPCO team had turned me on to this app, and I do really like it. And the cool thing is like there's pre-built templates. So if you're editing something for YouTube, you can use their pre-built template. If you're editing something for Instagram, it will automatically size your pictures or whatever. So you can just like you've got a picture on your phone, but it needs to be cleaned up, start with that image. But you can also use it for like just basic graphic creation from the ground up. So if you just want to start from the ground up with like a cool creation. So yeah, Pixlr, I've actually really enjoyed thus far. I will say Adobe is a great option. Yes, it can take a hot minute to learn Adobe, but they offer so much. It's ridiculous. Not just for graphic creation, but like we use like Adobe Premiere and Rush for video editing.
Okay.
So I'm dabbling in video editing. It's certainly not my forte, but I have done some video editing. And even, again, if you're a newbie, the Premiere Rush is really just like a great, easy to use platform. If you're being self-taught, you're trying to figure it out on your own, love it, like recommend it. So those are big ones for me personally. When I polled the group and our advisory board, AI came up, obviously.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
This is like this whole other world of graphic creating and graphic apps is the AI journey. So take that for what you will, but there's a lot of them out there.
There really is. And I will tell you, I have not, like, I'm digging into the AI world, but because it is so in depth, like it almost reminds me of coding. Because if you don't have the right thing that you want to say, then, like it's like the more details, the better. And I took a coding class in high school, but if you ask me to code now, like it's not going to happen. But it's just one of those things. Like if you're missing one wrong thing with coding, it's not going to show up. And I feel like that's how it is with AI, but the apps that are out there to help edit, remove, I don't know, misformations in the picture or pieces of grass if you've taken the picture outside, it's absolutely incredible. And for those people that do not have the time to spend hours and hours learning an app, or they get frustrated because they can't get it to do what they need it to do in 5 minutes, AI is incredible. Now, have you ever played with is it Lin? No, it's not. It's Lensa, Lensa.
No, I have not.
So I like Lensa. That's one. Now I will say that is more of a beautifying app, right? Like it smooths it out, it brightens. You can add like glow features. So if you're really trying to highlight, or if you take the shadowing at, a picture, because somebody sent you a team picture and it wasn't the right lighting, and you just really want to make it nice and bright and beautiful. I like that from a very quick perspective.
Okay.
It is like bing, 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 good. And if you're doing pictures of yourself to market your business and you are very self-conscious, like it's ways that incorporate AI without being AI. And it's one that I feel like is more like a tap, tap, done, where I've trained myself to use Lightroom. And I like that because of presets. So if you are doing, a set preset that you like, I love the copy and paste aspect of it. And so it's like you upload 50 pictures, 100 pictures, whatever, takes 5 to 10 minutes. You get that preset and you apply it to all. And the way that it just pops out pictures is magical to me. Again, I'm not a photographer. I am not trained in editing. It's all based on, like, I know I want nice, bright, beautiful colors.
Mm-hmm.
And Lightroom does it for you. And there is a paid option and a free option, which I think is huge.
Yeah, Lightroom, I do know a lot of people who use Lightroom and just love it. So yeah, I've not personally used it, but yeah, heard great things. And that actually reminded me, Canva can be a really good one as well.
Yes.
I've done quick editing in Canva, like that real fast, like boom, boom, boom. If you're just trying to like take an image and just like brighten it really quick or whatever, that actually is a pretty good one as well.
It's really great to see all of these apps, and I know we'll talk about Canva here in just a little bit, but it's like they keep becoming more and more robust, right? Even with scheduling apps, there are filters in there that you can apply and edit and adjust. It may not be 100% what you want or that give you that full control, but the fact that each one of these apps that we're talking about just continue to build onto itself, I think is huge. So instead of maybe having 10 apps, one of these days it'll be down to 3 or 4, or, however many you want. I'm like, the more the merrier, because if one can't do it, another one can.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, even in Instagram, if you're just whipping out like a quick reel or something, you can do basic editing in that. So you're right. Like, it might not be the most robust, but if you're just looking to get something out really quick, I mean, there's so many, truly.
They can get it done. Find a way to get it done.
Right.
So, okay, let's talk about graphic creating, because we've talked about scheduling it. We've talked about a little bit of editing, but at the end of the day, we really need to be able to build whatever it is that we are going to post. And graphic from a text standpoint or text and image standpoint, not so much from a video, because that's a whole other thing. But start us off with graphics. What do you like?
Yeah, so this one I really had to like really pull our audience on, right? Because again, we want to make this relevant to apparel decorators. And as I've said, our Apparelist advisory board is all decorators. So it's like, well, who better to talk to than these guys? And again, I hate to do this, but we're coming back to AI. I mean, so
crazy.
By and large, I would say, obviously being decorators, a lot of these guys already have graphic design skills, right?
Absolutely.
They're already creating graphics, whether that's through Adobe, whether that's through, things like InDesign and stuff like that. I mean, you've got your tried and true, right? But a lot of these guys are now experimenting with Midjourney, with Dolly, with even the Adobe one that is rolling out. We're doing a whole presentation at Printing United Expo on AI for apparel decorators. And yeah, I mean, the 3 panelists that I have all used different ones. Again, Midjourney was like the top one, but then like Adobe was big. So I'm just going to I have to throw that out there. I mean, these decorators, this is what they're using. So take that for what you want. It, again, like you said, it's not perfect yet.
Yeah.
And by no means is it a replacement app for graphic creating.
Absolutely.
By no means. Because like you said, you might type in a prompt and get something that you're like, that's not quite what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yo, you're a graphic designer. You've probably got some graphic skills. Take that image and now build on it. Make it your own. Create something that your customer wants, whatever. But it is a good jumping off point and it's quick.
That's awesome. That's another one. Like I know when, we were working on some booth graphics, Dane Clement was like, okay, let's try this. And, he would get an idea and then just completely make it Dane, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's really about efficiency. And instead of looking at it as something that is taking away, from somebody that's skilled or whatever, it's really just giving it a boost. It's giving that person, your team, you a boost. And then you can, like you said, go make it your own. And I think that is huge.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite one?
Personally, I don't have a favorite one yet for the graphic side. Now, if we want to talk about like content and words, I mean, man, we can go down that rabbit hole. But I have tried a bunch of different ones. I have yet to really land on one. But again, this is something, you really just have to experiment with. Like, I personally like the Adobe suite because that's my comfort zone. I know where all the tools lie. I know where things are. Like I'm like, yep, I've been using the Adobe suite since I was in college when it was still a janky, like I'm dating myself here, but it was still like a janky app and like platform. And so I've really kind of grown up with it in my professional career. And so that's my personal favorite. I like to live in the Adobe suite because it's comfortable for me. There's other great ones out there, I know, but that's my personal opinion.
So it's funny because I call myself a doodler. Okay.
Yeah.
I can doodle, I can have ideas and visions, but I am not trained with software to be able to execute a vision, right? It is, I take what I know and I go from there and I work around with it. And then of course, at Stahls, we have an incredible team that is able to create so much. So most of the time, there are times where I am doodling on Procreate, like,
nice,
take and make this what it needs to be. It's a stick figure, but you're getting the idea. Or the one I love is Canva. I am a Canva girl, day in, day out. And the reason why I love it is because there are so many templates in there. So if you can just get the bones of something, then you can really make it you. But if you don't know how to start, Canva is one that I swear up and down, and I swear up and down for it on the paid version.
Yes.
And the reason being is because it opens the door to everything within that app. It was already mentioned earlier through one of the one of the notes. I was going to pull it up. Where is it? Thought it was John. Did John say something? Maybe not. It was mentioned you can schedule through Canva now, and there is a section of Canva that you can go in and schedule your content to be pushed out. But I've created flat lays in Canva because you can remove the background.
Yep.
I've created a lot of graphics, social media posts, stories, templates, website flows. Like, I mean, email chart. I can go on and on, but it's just what Canva is. And for somebody that isn't trained in that, it's one of those that I can just sit there and go and play and save all day long.
Oh yeah. And I have to say, like, we've used Canva to create graphics for even just some of like our blog posts and article posts. So like, sometimes you have an article where it's just like, you're not quite finding a good stock image or whatever, because we work in a very specific industry. You're not always going to find the perfect image of like a screen print, whatever. And so it's, myself and a couple of our other editors have gone into Canva and created our own, quote unquote stock art, because you can make it look beautiful. Like you said, that paid version is worth every penny.
It is. One of the reasons, so there's two other reasons why I love Canva is you can go in and there is a business aspect where you can upload your logos, your colors, and your fonts. And so again, that quick click, I need whatever generated. I'm doing a promo, I'm doing a holiday. I want to say thank you. I want to have a customer testimony. I'm like feedback, response. You could go in there and have templates, put in that testimony, and it will automatically create it based on your fonts, based on your graph or your logo, any elements and your colors. And then you can sit there and just regenerate until you get the one that you like. And for those of you that are like, okay, I know that my color is red, royal, and white, but I don't know how to make that come into a graphic. You're the business owner, you're the production, but graphics isn't your specialty. It does it for you. The second is just the fact that you get all the clip art. That's what I'm going to call it. Now, I have used some of that clip art. I actually did a video on designing in Canva where here's what you need to look for. And it doesn't always work when you're exporting, but if you need a cheat sheet, there is some art in there.
Oh yeah, and a lot of it. So
yes, a lot. So much.
You're right.
It's just crazy. So I'm definitely pro Canva on a lot of things. And I will say I like Canva better on a desktop computer, laptop than I do the mobile version. It's definitely glitchy for me, and I'll make it work, but give me the computer all day long for that one.
Same. I feel like for anything, whenever I'm working in graphic creation and stuff, I just like the desktop better. Call it what you will, but I do prefer it over like a mobile version.
Yep. It's just less clunky, you know? So let's talk video editing, because with the way of the world, it's no longer just static post. People want to see movement. It could be a 5-second, 7-second clip, or it could be TikTok's up to 10 minutes. 30, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't keep up.
It's now become a video platform, not a short form platform. But what do you like for video editing, especially since you're starting to dabble into that?
Yeah, so I brought it up earlier, and we can go a little more in depth. I do like Premiere, and I use like the Premiere Rush version because I am a quote unquote beginner. So here's why I like it. I went into it with no training and was immediately able to find stuff. Okay. So like, I was just like, oh yeah, this is clearly like your cut tool. This is clearly like where you're going to add an overlay. This is clearly where I bring in my media. And over here is where I add like my lower third templates or whatever. So like the template area is very clearly mapped out. Everything is right there. Boom. You don't have to go searching for it. You don't have to wonder what some weird little icon, circle icon with a line through it means. Like, it's very clearly mapped out for those of us who are beginners. And so that's my personal preference. I also would be remiss if I didn't just quickly mention, yes, I do edit like my reels within the Instagram app. Like I live in Instagram. That's like my preferred social media app. And so that's where I like to, if I'm just like trying to crank out like a quick, okay, I just need to do a quick real recap of a shop visit we did. Yep. I will just use that on my initial like video edit because that has some pretty cool basic tools. I mean, you can cut video, you can add some cool, like you can add music. I think I created one last week that has like a cool background. So you could even like make your video smaller with like cool backgrounds and stuff. And so again, those are for like beginner. Yeah. Like if you're just learning video editing. And oh man, I'm totally blanking. There's one I used to use and now I've lost it. It's gone. It's gone out into the worlds of apps and trying to keep them all straight in my brain.
I know, right? I will say Instagram's editing for Reels have come a very long way. And I am like you, if I am able to edit it in Instagram, then 100% I want to stay in Instagram. Where I find it's tricky is like you can save the video, which is excellent. So you can save it before you post. You don't get the audio if you're importing or utilizing any of the audio featured on the platform, but at least you have, everything stitched together that you need. TikTok to me has actually gone down in terms of editing.
Oh.
Well, and that's just my personal, like how I, do everything, because with Instagram, it has the, like the shadow effect. So if you're trying to do, some type of transition, where you are, TikTok doesn't have that. And you can go in and edit portions of Instagram in clips, where TikTok, you have to do it right as you're doing it. And if you go back and edit, then you lose anything that you have saved previously. So, which is actually really funny, because my favorite app to, I'm trying to use my mouse for my other computer. It wasn't working. That's funny. My favorite app is actually CapCut, which Daniel said that, CapCut works great too. And I have to agree with this. This CapCut will pull in trends from TikTok, and you can import trending music, trending transitions, or just, whatever's trending. There's so many different trends in terms of ways to edit. But I like CapCut because you can make it in that app and then put it on both platforms, and still edit what you need to in Instagram if needed. But it's also very, very easy to use.
I was just thinking, I was like, that is absolutely brilliant. I mean, because sometimes half the battle is staying on top of what's trending. Like, how do I make sure that my video gets seen and all the noise and the clutter? So having that extra capability.
Yep.
Brilliant.
That's so Daniel, I'm curious, what is it about CapCut that you like? Because I like how quickly I can go in and take a 3-minute, very chaotic video and condense it down to 10 seconds, just knowing where everything is. But I've also seen on TikTok more and more where it'll have a little pop-up above the person's video's name, template in CapCut, or these, make this template or utilize this template in CADCut, or template made in CADCut. That is a vinyl.
I was gonna say, I mean, we
That's funny. It's Friday, and it's Friday before Printing United. It's good. Oh my goodness, guys. I'm done. Thank you. See you later. But no, I like things that are easy and very, very simple. And while I have a lot of creativity going on in my brain, I use both sides. So I need it to be simple, organized, and structured. And I also need to have free range.
Right. I think we're speaking for many listeners out there.
Right? Those business owners, especially in our world. And so Daniel did say that they love the templates. So if you're like, I don't even know what to do or where to get started, CapCut is excellent for really going, hey, try this. And all you have to do is take their template and just upload either a video or a picture, and boom, it's done for you.
Yeah.
So let's talk content management. I think this one can be one of the hardest, because if you're doing text messaging, if you're doing emails, if you're doing social media, if you do any promos, even orders or trade shows that you go to, what do you like for management different than scheduling?
Oh man. Okay. I feel like there's so many, it's hard to even focus, right? And so many people use so many different things. One of them that automatic, and I don't use this one personally, but I know one that everybody uses, MailChimp. I mean, MailChimp is great for scheduling like your marketing emails, your e-blasts, your communication with your customers. And okay, yeah, tried and true, right? Or tried and true. Speaking of people who can't talk, that's me today. So MailChimp is obviously a big one. Another one, when I spoke with the advisory board, somebody recommended or talked about ClickFunnels, which was a newish one to me. I'd heard of it, but I've not ever like explored ClickFunnels or really gone into it. So I spent a couple weeks in it trying to, understand what it does. So what I discovered is it can be a great substitute for content management tools like WordPress or things like that.
Okay.
It can help with like your website content management, your landing pages, your blogs. It's designed to get people from social media sites on to your website. So it really helps your conversion as far as moving people from social to your actual website, your web store, whatever. Again, pre-built templates. So for all of us who are stretched too thin or just super busy or not sure where to start, it has the templates. So that's super nice. So I would say like that sounds like it's a really great one. And the more I dove in, the more it kind of seemed really cool, but it goes very deep. I really discovered there's tons of different plans and levels, and again, premium subscriptions versus free subscriptions, and they have trials and all that stuff. So be willing to spend some time to look into that particular area. The one I'm most familiar with for my content strategy and content creation is WordPress. And you might argue, okay, is WordPress really a content management tool? I think so, just because the various ways that you can set up WordPress can help you really manage your content, again, with pre-built templates. You can build in tools like Yoast for CEO for SEO to help you manage your SEO strategies. So you can even like optimize your content using plugins. So that's what's great about that. And then of course we could talk about it forever, but in terms of like content management for specific for apparel decorators, you got to talk about your Deco Networks of the world, your Printavos of the world, your Shopworks, your whatever you use. There's so many. And again, these are all different ways to control your content. Is this content you're sharing with your customers? Is this workflow management content? Is this content that's going on your webpage? Depending on your needs will depend on the app you want to pursue.
Yes. And, I will also say and that's one thing that Carly and Danielle always talk about, or at least we've talked about it. I feel like they've guys, this is easy stuff. And the biggest thing is reusing what you have, using what you're already doing. So when you are planning and you're mapping out, if this is a customer touch or your workflow, all of that is content, right? Everything is content, and record it. And when you need to schedule it or organize it, at least you're staying within the same kind of video or topic or point of view. And it doesn't feel as chaotic when you need to have an email. This is, this getting sent out today. Am I doing a flyer for that? When it stays consistent, not every single person is going to see every point of view from that, right? Not everybody is going to see that email. Not everybody is going to see that social post. And I think it's important to keep that in the back of your mind, because even if it seems repetitive to you, it in fact is not.
Yes, because there are so many touch points. I mean, you said it, it's can be overwhelming to think about all the touch points that your customers have with you, or that even your employees have with the business structure or whatever. So yeah, there are tons of easy ways to do it. There are tons of easy to use platforms, but ultimately at the end of the day, you have to sit down and map out your strategy. You just do.
Yep. And I think let's talk really fast about what is mapping out, because a lot of people talk about, you got to map it out. You got to know what you're going to post. You got to know this. What does mapping out mean?
So for me personally, so I'm just going to approach this from my content strategy mapping out thing. So We use an internal tool called Asana, and we talked about this last time. And again, not technically a content management app, but I'm going to bring it up anyway because I use it to help. So when I look at, let's say I'm mapping out my content strategy for the next 6 months. I look at, January, February, March, April, et cetera, et cetera. And then I'm like, okay, this month, I know I want to hit this particular topic heavily. I know I want to talk about what's trending in like HTV, right?
Sure.
So I want to say, okay, this week we're going to cover a how-to. This week we're going to talk about metallic. This week we're going to talk about applying it to like hats. But it's all going to revolve around this one theme. So for me, when I think about mapping out, I'm like, okay, pick my one theme that I want to talk about. And then what are the subtopics that I can hit that will really hammer that home? And I map it all out in Asana. And I like list it as like, okay, here's my main task, my project. Here are my subtasks. Here are my deadlines. Mm-hmm. And then I go and plug those in. So if I'm going to do a social campaign around that, then I go into Hootsuite and I say, okay, I know I have an article coming in on Monday on how to work with metallic transfers. So on Monday, I'm going to post this really, really cool graphic I created. So I then, I schedule my posts and then it comes out. So it all comes, you start big and you sort of funnel down into like your smaller subtasks. So that's what I think about when I think about mapping out my strategy.
I think that's great because, what do I post? I can post anything. You could post drinking a cup of coffee while labels are printing, right? Like that's content. But in terms of getting it to make sense, I think what you just said is perfect. Take 6 months, maybe even take a quarter, go by quarter. Nobody said that you have to be, a pro at this, right? It's an ever evolving game. And if you guys you need a template. There's several templates out there. You can go to Pinterest and search social media like monthly template. And if there's certain, categories or days that you see, and maybe you don't want to post every day because that's too overwhelming.
Right.
Pick those days. Or if you see something that's like a point of view, change it to a customer testimonial. I guarantee you that people will always be happy to share feedback.
Yes.
So you have to be willing to, open arms. But I love to read customer testimonials because it's a relatability factor. It creates trust. And if somebody is looking for a new printer or just remembering, I need to order, X, Y, and Z, the minute they read that and can relate, it captures them. So utilize Pinterest as well. That's a platform that I love. But, I think just being able to take it and understand, okay, this is what happens this month. Mm-hmm. Here's what my goal or my focus needs to be is really key.
Oh, totally. And use your everyday interactions with your customers to kind of help drive that strategy. I mean, what cool projects are you working on? Are you doing something unique that you've never done before? Build that into your content strategy. I mean, it's great. And the best thing about these content strategies is they can be flexible. You can always go into Hootsuite and be like, cancel. I don't want to do that one.
Yeah. Changed. That didn't work, or it didn't work last time. Yeah, maybe it's a repeat post, or it's the same verbiage, but you changed up the colors and the fonts, and it could be your company message. And I think that's huge. So Cassie, before we end, what is I always ask our guests a little bit of advice or something you just want to say when it comes to really stepping into the application world of marketing, tips, tricks. What's your thoughts?
My biggest piece of advice is just do it. I know you're busy. I know you've got like this busy business to run. You've got all the things. You're probably wearing all the hats, but there is so much out there that can help you. Spend an hour on like a Friday afternoon and explore all of the apps that you think would work for you. Just even if it's just reading about them, because if you don't start and you just keep making excuses for not having good graphics, for not having a scheduling, for not using this app or not using that app, at the end of the day, are you going to have a good strategy? And again, there's so many easy to use ones. There's really no excuse. So just do it, spend the time, explore it, make a decision. Even if that decision 2 months from now is not working for you, at least now you know.
Yep. I think you said it, like the biggest thing is just start and just do it. It's never going to be perfect, and you only get better by doing. So just like in our industry, the more you do, the better you become, it's just, it's the same way. It's just do it. Just do it. All right, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel, wherever you watch wherever you watch your podcast. I'm done. I'll see you later. Wherever you watch podcasts, listen to podcasts, make sure you subscribe to our channel. That way you can stay up to date with the most information that we have. And of course, if you guys are not part of the Heat Press for Profit community on Facebook, go join it right now. It's a giant community of decorators. And I can tell you every day, every week, there is always a trick. It's just not a good day. That way, it's just like everybody comes together. So we're going to head off of here before I mess up any more words. My goodness. You guys know I'm real, so this is what you get. But happy Friday. Have a great weekend. And Cassie, as always, thank you so much for your time. And I cannot wait to see you next week.
Likewise, guys. Thanks, Kelly.
See ya.